My guest today is a former professional golfer, corporate event specialist, CEO, speaker, podcaster, and performance mindset coach, Miss Christina Lecuyer. Did I say Lecuyer right?
You did.
Yeah, I love that name. Though born in Canada, Christina has somehow made her way to the South and now resides with her husband in Conway, Arkansas. Before each UIYB interview, our guests are sent a questionnaire to fill out. One of the questions is, tell us something you are most proud of in your life or career. Christina gave the most unusual answer. She replied, I am for sure the most content and happiest person I know. Today, we're going to find out how this ex-pro athlete living on the circuit went from stressed out to the happiest person she knows in her 4-part series called What Failing as a Golf Pro Taught Me About Business, or you could retitle it, The Confidence to Live in Your Purpose. It is a pleasure to welcome to the table the former professional golfer, confident coach, and host of Decide It's Your Turn podcast, Miss Christina Lecuyer.
Thank you so much for having me. I totally forgot I filled out that form. It was so long ago. I'm like, what did I say? But then when you said it, I was like, yeah, that's probably true.
Before we get started with you giving advice to our listeners, we need to tell them why you have the street creds and what your story is, and talk about your top tier athletes and entrepreneurs that you've helped. So you grew up in Canada, and if I remember correctly, you were a late bloomer to the game of golf.
Good memory. Yes, I was. I started playing golf when I was 18. So my dad was in the golf world. Both of my brothers played since they were in diapers, but I was the oldest child, type A personality. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. And so I had no desire to do it until I was about 18 years old. And I started working at a golf course, and I'm a huge tomboy, love sports, love hanging out with the guys. And after work, they all went and played golf. So I was like, I guess I better learn how to play this sport. And so from 18 to 21, I got really good.
Yeah. You got so good that you got a scholarship to Arkansas?
Yeah, UCA, Central Arkansas.
Talk about you picked up you picked up a club, and immediately, what was your first score?
I don't remember the first score, but I do know within the first year I broke 190 and 80. And in the second year, I won the first event I ever played. So that's pretty quick.
What was your score on the one you won? What's the lowest you've ever?
The lowest I've ever shot is 66. I've done it numerous times, but I've never gone lower. But I don't remember what I won that golf tournament with. Like they were all scores in the 70s. They weren't, like in the 60s or anything like that. But it was a 3-day tournament. It was pouring rain. That's all that I remember about it. I mean, my gosh, that was like a minute ago. But I remember they were all scores in the 70s. It was pouring rain. It was at the Edmonton Petroleum Club in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. But that's as much as I remember.
How'd you end up in Arkansas?
It's a crazy story. So between high school and college in Canada, typically people take a year off between school. Well, I took 3. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I'm always a worker. Like I've worked since I was like 10 years old, working for my dad on the golf course. And when I turned 18, I started working in the bar industry at night and the golf course during the day. And for like 3 years, I just decided after high school, I was going to travel. So I went backpacking through New Zealand for about 4 months by myself. And when I got home, I just started working in the golf course and then working at the bars at night. And then I was working at a golf course. My dad hooked me up with the guy that I was working for. And I was working in the golf shop, and the ping rep, his son went to UCA, and he said, you should really apply for a scholarship. They're looking for women. The UCA women's golf team has only been around a couple of years. You should apply. And so they connected me at the time with the people in charge at UCA. And I got pretty much, I think it was like 75% scholarship for the first year. And then it was a full ride after that. But funny enough, my middle brother, who was ranked really high in Canada, his scholarship fell through at like Miami and UNLV. I don't even remember where he was going to go, but he ended up coming to UC at the same time. So we both came down the exact same year. He went for 5 years. And then on his 5th year, my youngest brother came. So I graduated, Ryan spent 1 more year, and then Stephen did 4 years. So all 3 of us played at UCA.
Well, UCA is lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
From Canada.
That's incredible.
They have UCA golf program back in the day. Can't speak for it now, but back in the day, they used to have a lot of foreign people, foreign athletes. The way that I look at it and kind of explain it is, athletics in the United States of America is the gold standard,
Right.
and every other country wants to come here. So if you're a great golfer in the United States, you're probably going to a top 50 school. But if you're, a great golfer around the rest of the world, you're more likely to look at schools that aren't like top caliber, top tier. And UCA, great program, but it's not like a,
national headline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like not like an Arkansas or a Duke or whatever. So we ended up doing fantastically. The years that I was here, I was an All-American. I won like 5 times. I did really well in college, but I think it was in thanks to the part that, I wasn't playing against the best in the world. I was playing against good athletes, but not the best.
Is your husband an Arkansan?
Yeah, he's from Conway.
You met him at school?
I met him. Well, no, he's a little bit older than me. So he's 7 years older than me. So he was already graduated and running a construction company by the time that I met him. But we met my college roommate. Her husband worked for Nathan. So,
and you've been married a long time. When did all of this happen?
We've been together 21 years.
So you were in college during...
I met him while I was in college.
And what years was back in the old days?
2003 we met. 2003. Yeah, what is it? Yeah, that's 21 years ago.
Your brothers end up staying here and playing
No,
golf?
both of my brothers ended up going back to Canada. One lives in Vancouver and Calgary.
I'm worried about your mother losing all her kids.
No, they're in the process of getting the U.S. citizenship. Your daughter,
lovely.
My parents would switch her in a second.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Why? What's up with Canada? Everybody in America wants to move to Canada, and everybody in Canada wants to move to America.
I'll be honest with you. I'm an American citizen, and I think it's the greatest country in the whole entire world.
It absolutely is.
Absolutely, 100%.
Everybody wants to live in America.
Go anywhere else. Go anywhere. Like I'm a big patriot of the United States. I wasn't born here, but I'm a huge fan. And
you got dual citizenship.
I do. I have dual citizenship.
You were voted the top confidence coach in 2020. Mm-hmm. Of what?
Just
of how? Who?
Coaches for it wasn't Forbes. It was forget the name of the article. I mean, you can Google it. You just Google top confidence coach and I come up on the internet, I guess, which was wonderful and amazing. But I got voted the top one in 2020.
So tell us how it all came crashing down. It all came crashing down.
Oh,
you ended up with it. You didn't make the tour. You ended up with an eating disorder, I believe.
Yep.
So tell us all the ugly, gory details of that life. How wonderful it was. It sounds like just now.
Yeah.
But then it came to a peak, I guess you could say, and everything changed. How did that come about?
Yeah. So I was, I went to school here. I was an All-American. I played for 4 years. I did quite well. And then I turned pro right after playing college golf. And I started to get a little bit of notoriety. There was a television show on the Golf Channel back in the day called The Big Break. And it was like a very big show for golf. It was a reality show of golf, but it was a big deal. And so I got some fame doing that. And then all of a sudden I got the opportunity to host corporate events and I was still playing. I tried to get my tour card for about 3 years. But, for me during that period of time, everything was based on how I looked, how I played golf, and how I was making money. That was where I was getting my external validation. And for probably up until about 27 years old, I was always chasing that next thing. I was always chasing that thing to make me happy. So if I get the next job, I'll be happy. If I lose the weight, I'll be happy. If I get my tour card, I'll be happy. And I was always an external, which if you're always chasing the external validation, you're never actually going to be happy. And at about 27 years old, I had missed my tour card for about 3 years. I was doing corporate events. I was making money. I was with my now husband and, I was skinny and pretty and had all the things kind of going for me, but I just really wasn't happy. And so at about 27 years old, I just kind of had this rock bottom moment where I just decided, I was like, well, there is people out in this world that have a lot less than me and they're happy. So how the hell did they do that? And that's really when I dove into self-development and mindset work, the power of the mind. And for the last 15 something years, I have just been living, breathing, and dying that. And over the, 5 or 6 years in the beginning when I started that, I was investing into everything, every coach, every program, every event, every retreat that I possibly could. And then along the way, people started coming to me because I had the ability to, be happy and make a lot of money. And, I was living literally my best life and had a business around it. And people were wondering how that happened. And then organically, my business just kind of evolved from there. And then people just wanted to work with me to help them do the exact same thing. And so I've been, you can call it confidence coach, performance coach, mindset coach, but I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. I work with men and women. I personally believe that the power of the mind is everything. And I think a lot of people try to do life and business by themselves. And unfortunately, I think that you can make all the money in the world, but if you're not enjoying it along the way, what's kind of the point? And I'm a big proponent of actually being really successful. Like, don't get me wrong, I love money. I love opportunities of money. I love all of those things, but I also really value the journey along the way. And so I help people have the best journey ever and make money.
That's great. This is a great place to take a break. When we come back, we'll get some free life advice from confidence coach, ex-pro golfer, Miss Christina Lecuyer. Still to come, 4 confidence building steps to help you live in your purpose. Golf tips. I know all the guys like that. The LIV League versus the PGA. We'll get her opinion on that. And how you can continue learning from Christina on her podcast. We'll be right back.
Flag season is here, and Arkansas's flagandbanner.com has everything you need to freshen up your home with a little red, white, and blue. Bunting is a great way to dress up the front of any house, porch, or fence line. Easily spruce up your yard with stick flags and garden banners, and our wide selection of decorative door hangers will make all your guests feel right at home. You can shop online or come see us in our historic showroom in downtown Little Rock. Arkansas's flagandbanner.com. We're the experts.
We're speaking today with ex-pro golfer, Miss Christina Lecuyer, a performance and mindset coach, speaker, and host of Decide It's Your Turn podcast. Before the break, we talked about how she was born in Canada, ended up in Arkansas at UCA, and how at the age of 27, she kind of had a career breakdown and organically ended up a life coach. Christina, I saw you speak at Rotary. I have to tell you, it was a great speech. And I left kind of walking on cloud 9. I really liked it. And
she came back talking about it.
Yep. It wasn't anything, it was almost reminders of things that you already know, but kind of said in a different way. And that's okay. You study the same things over and over and over again. And I love the way you presented it. At the time, you asked the audience this question. And Gray, be thinking about this question because you're going to have to answer it in a minute.
Okay.
You remember what it was?
Was it the one in the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. You asked the audience, if they had the power to change one thing in this world, what would it be? And
you came home asking everybody this.
I did?
Yes.
See, I told you made him good. A lot of people said hunger and homelessness. So Gray, what would yours be? I had to really think about what mine would be. And now I've forgotten what it was. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I feel like I had an answer to this already. No, I remember thinking, God, that's so huge. And then I didn't answer it. So I don't know.
Come on.
I mean, if I had to just say, it would be something probably like climate change. It's like a thing that I feel like hangs over.
Well, I think mine would be disinformation. Mm-hmm. I wish that we could get rid of disinformation. Yeah. And it really is basically gossip. Gossip was not good in grade school. It's not good in junior high. It's not good at the workplace. It's not good on the internet. And that's basically all it is just gossip. And it's just like gossip. It builds on itself. It just spreads. If it's bad gossip, it spreads fast.
So do you get a lot of those like Pollyanna kind of, pageant answers to that question, I guess?
I was
climate change and world hunger and
I think that I was interviewing someone, and that was one of the things that he said on a podcast. So I actually brought that up to him, and then I've started asking people that question because I think it's really good. I think you can tell a lot about a person by how they answer that question. And so for me personally, I was just like, I hate when people have excuses of why they can't do something. So like I said personally, like I hate the person not being confident in the ability to like what I believe is live out their God-given purpose. Do the thing that they say they want to do. That just frustrates me beyond belief because I'm just like, there's so many people in this world and your excuses are what are keeping you stuck. And so for me, I'm just so passionate about a person actually finding a way to yes and being able to do the thing that they ultimately are here to do. And that might be, be the best gardener in the world. That might be to start a business. That might be to, like themselves more, whatever it is. But I think for me personally, I just get so frustrated by people who have excuses of why they can't do the thing that they say they want to do.
Oh, I should add that one. That's a good one. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine too,
and
but
that's
I'm not
more
as
like
nice about
what
it.
is something that, and that's less about like, what do you want to change and more about what do you wish you could do?
I don't know. She said, I wrote it down. She said, grant everyone the confidence to live in their purpose, to do the things they say they want to do. And then on in quotes, while creating revenue.
While creating revenue. The creating revenue part is the part that I sometimes leave off because I think a lot of people stop themselves from doing something. Like I was doing a speaking engagement years ago here in Little Rock. And I was like, if you want to bake and I think at the time I said effing, so I can say that on this podcast.
Oh,
No,
sure.
you cannot because it's going to be on the radio.
Oh, I guess that's true.
But,
all right.
if you want to bake effing cupcakes, bake the cupcakes, and then find the way to the revenue. I think so many people stop themselves from doing something in the beginning because they're thinking about step 10 or step 100, and they're not thinking about step 2. And they're not actually doing the thing that they love and enjoy, because most people who do something that they love and enjoy, and if you do it long enough, I believe opportunity presents itself.
Absolutely.
I believe you'll figure out the way to monetize it, but the only way to figure it out is to actually take action, to actually do something, to actually do the thing that you say that you want to do. And so for me, I'm just like, I'm not the kind, like I'm very kind to my clients, obviously, but like I'm also, my job is to not let them hold themselves back with their excuses. Let's find a way to yes, let's take the next action step. And I think that a lot of people need that.
I love that. The title of your talk at Rotary was What Failing as a Golf Pro Taught Me About Business. And then you retitled it on the website because you can look at it on the website, and it's now called The Confidence to Live in Your Purpose. And you outline 4 main reasons that hold people back from their dreams. And we're going to start with the first one, fear of failure.
Yeah. Most people are afraid to fail. Most people are so worried. Most people are so worried about what everyone's going to think. Most people are so concerned with the fact that they're going to fail that before they even start, you never know. And what is failure really? You know what I mean? To me, I believe that like failure right off the bat, failure is not even willing to try. Like be willing to try something. Most people fail at everything. Most successful billionaires and millionaires, they've all gone bankrupt a few times. You're going to get your ass kicked. You're going to fall down. And that's just part of life. And I think failure is, we look at it wrong. I think we need to look at failure as a good thing. It's like fall down 1,000 times, you're going to figure out what to do the next time.
Failure is data collection.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you almost learn more from your failures than you do from your successes.
Oh, most certainly. Absolutely. But we have such a negative connotation. You ask most people, they come to me and they're like, I want to do this thing or whatever. But I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. It's like, what are you so afraid of? To me, though, like, I'm not even really afraid to die. I'm just afraid that like I'm going to run out of time. That's my biggest fear is that I'm just running out of time. Like I wake up so early. I live life to the fullest. I say yes to everything that like sets my soul on fire. I say no to everything that doesn't, like have zero time for things that like are just not bringing me life. So, for me, it's just like, you're going to run out of time and you're going to be so pissed at the end of your life that you didn't do it.
And fear of failure is really what bankrupted your golf career. You were always so worried about, I got to make a birdie on this, or I've got to, get an eagle on that. Or
I was just so worried about what everyone was going to think. For me, that was a huge part of it because I was so worried about the external validation. I was so worried about like, what were people going to say? And yet, it's interesting. Most people are super, super selfish. Like at the end of the day, we're all really, really selfish people. We really like, how do I look? What do I do? Like we're very selfish people. I think most people actually don't give a crap what you actually do. So you really have to live for yourself.
That podcaster who asked that question earlier, who said that question I just asked you, Gray, if you could change one thing, what would it be?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was also that podcaster who said, that you interviewed, who said, our guest, that said, people are so afraid of failure, but nobody remembers it.
Yeah.
We are so inconsequential on this planet, all of us. Mm-hmm. We put ourselves on these pedestals and pretend like we're so important. But honestly, after I'm gone, nobody's going to remember me. They're sure not going to remember my failures. They'll remember your successes, but nobody's going to be dredging up your failures. We interviewed Asa Hutchinson, Gray and I did a week ago, and He was the governor of Arkansas. He ran for the Arkansas House of Representatives twice before he got it. He ran for, I think, Secretary of State, Attorney General, didn't get either one of them. He ran for governor and didn't get it. And then he ran for the presidency as a Republican candidate and didn't get it. He has zero fear of failure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's been very successful. You look at his career and it's great. But there's a lot of failure in there.
Most successful people have had tons and tons of failure. I mean, you follow, I interviewed these young kids who have an account called the School of Hard Knocks, and they interview very, very successful people. And they always say, have you ever been bankrupt? Have you ever been broke? Have you ever failed? And like everyone just kind of laughs. They're like, duh.
Yeah.
No kidding, right? Yeah. I mean, every person has. And I think, oftentimes that keeps people from doing the thing that they really ultimately want to do in this world.
Yes. If you get out of self, you start thinking about how inconsequential you are. I think it makes it easier to go out there and do stuff because nobody really cares whether you fail or not. Yeah. All right. Second one, imposter syndrome, the feeling not worthy. I like imposter syndrome. The first time I heard that terminology, I think, was on the Kardashians.
Oh, really?
I'm one of those. Yeah. And she said it because even Kim Kardashian has imposter syndrome. And I like that terminology a lot better than low self-esteem, because I wouldn't say that Kim Kardashian has low self-esteem, but I do think that even people without low self-esteem often feel like they're unworthy.
Well, I think there's a big difference between imposter syndrome and worthy, because I personally, as a Christian, I believe everyone is worthy. So like you are worthy, period. But you can build your confidence. You can build that imposter syndrome, getting rid of that imposter syndrome by taking the action. I mean, no one's good at anything when they first start. You probably are much better at podcasting now than you were 700 episodes ago.
Oh my, Lydian,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you were an imposter in the beginning. Like I'm sure you felt like, what the heck am I doing? Am I going to do this right? There's people that are so much better than me. I mean, you can look at Kim Kardashian. She's a mogul in all of the business things that she's done. But if she were to go out on the golf course and say that, okay, I'm going to be a professional golfer, I'm sure she'd feel a bit like an imposter, I say to clients all the time, I mean, I'm nervous to do this thing. I'm like, okay, perfect. Do it 1,000 times. And I guarantee you won't be as nervous.
Yeah. You said this, build confidence by action. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. I can absolutely attest to that. I almost did not graduate from high school because I was afraid to make a speech in speech class. I make speeches all the time now because I decided I was going to learn to do it, because you can go, if you want to have an impact in life on other people, you can go and talk one-on-one to a lot of people. It takes a long time, but you can talk to 50 people one time if you can learn to make a speech. It's got the biggest return on your investment, according to Warren Buffett, that you can possibly do. And he is scared to death to make speeches, and he overcame it. He used to throw up before every speech. So I know that sounds awful, doesn't it? So you can absolutely overcome it if you just keep practicing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like anything, right? You want to you're probably going to suck in the beginning of most things, but you have to know the why behind it too, right? You like Warren Buffett, he knew that he wanted to make those speeches. I knew that I wanted to speak in front of crowds and do podcasting and coaching and all of the things that I wanted to do. And my why really helped me overcome a lot of the, quote unquote, imposter syndrome for sure.
Tell our listeners a story about how you were playing a charity corporate event. She could play. Okay. Christina plays charity corporate events, gets paid $10,000 a day.
Yeah.
Killer. Yeah, that's
I know.
Well-deserved.
So, I mean, yeah, forget the PGA Tour.
No, it's not forget the PGA Tour. Those guys are making a hell of a lot more money. I am not that good of a golfer. I always said I had a bit of the trifecta, which is I look a certain way, I play golf a certain way, and I can BS a certain way. And I think that those three things put together, it kind of was a trifecta for me. And I think the thing that I'm best at is the power of human connection. I think I can, I can pretty much connect with anyone. And I think oftentimes that's really the thing that propelled me the longest, for sure. I mean, yes, I wore a short skirt for a reason. I wasn't going to show up in a muumuu. And I also played golf to a decent level, better than most, but compared to actually good golfers, I'm not that good. But compared to most, I was pretty good. So
you get asked, one of your charity events, you get asked to host a really big event.
Yeah.
And talk about an imposter.
Totally.
Tell that story.
Yeah, absolutely. So David Faraday at the time was a huge, and he's still huge, but at the time he was really popping off on the Golf Channel. He had the Faraday Show, and I had a client come to me with, a really huge budget. He had about $100,000 to host this event, and he wanted me to put it together. And I felt like an imposter. I mean, I was good at the part that I was good at, which was hitting shots and BSing, but I had never put together an actual event. And that's more of like an event planner. But at the time, I knew that I had to say yes to it. And I said yes and acted like calm as a cucumber. But once I, shut my car door, I was like, oh my God, how the hell am I going to pull this off? And I just kept taking action after action. I just kept figuring it out. Something I don't even know if I believed it then, but now it's a huge pillar to what I believe, and there's always a way to yes. You can find a way to yes for anything. No is just a starting point. And so I just found a way to yes, and I did it extremely well. And I knew that was really going to propel me. And I think a lot of people would have said no to that opportunity. I think a lot of people would have kind of psyched themselves out, but I just kept showing up. I just kept taking action. And I knew that, one thing about me is I'm probably not that good at most things, but I'll work harder than most people. And I have a mindset that's pretty strong. And so with those two qualities, that's how I knew I was going to figure it out. And I did. And it was fantastic.
It's like eating an elephant, the old African proverb, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You just get doing one action step after the other. And then you picked this guy up. I think it was Faraday you picked up at the airport, and he was pissed off, and he looked at you and was like,
who is this chick? What the hell is she doing here? I do not want to talk to her. But I had a short skirt, like, a short dress on. And, I think within probably 10 minutes, he kind of knew that I was not some, dumb whomever. But I sorted out his luggage. I got everything figured out with the event. He and I started talking business, and still to this day, we're good friends.
Love it. All right. Third one, resilience. Resilience is built by taking action and doing the hard things.
Yeah, resiliency is just kind of like what I talked about. Find a way to yes, be willing to do hard things.
What's your family motto?
Oh, happier, healthier, more patient and kind. So my husband and I have this family motto. We do hard things. And we also have like this bracelet that we wear. It says HHPK, which is happier, healthier, more patient and kind. And then we do hard things.
So speaking of that, what is 75 hard?
Oh, we did 75 hard when was I on 75 hard when we did that? That I was, I bet I was.
What is that?
So 75 hard is, a lot of people look at it as, Andy Frisella created it. He has he's probably one of the top 10 podcasters in the country. He is like more of like a motivational performance coach business. He owns First Form, which a lot of people know. It's a supplement company. It's like few $100 million company. And he created this program called 75 Hard. And it is I think it's a mindset program. A lot of people use it as like a diet, but it's basically for 75 days straight. You have to drink a gallon of water, work out twice a day, separated by 3 hours.
What now? You have to do what? Start over again.
Yeah, exactly. Here. You're like, what?
How many days?
75 days straight.
Oh, 75 hard.
75 hard. You have to
drink a gallon of water a day.
Gallon of water a day, which is super easy.
Everyone's not.
That's not as much as you think.
Everyone should be doing that. Like that's like the number one tip.
Except for water's. It's got so many contaminants in it these days.
Oh, okay. Off topic.
Okay, go ahead.
A gallon of water, 2 workouts a day. You decide the workouts. They have to be 45 minutes and they have to be separated by 3 hours. One of them must be outside. So how my husband and I do it is like we go to the trainer in the morning for 45 minutes and then in the afternoon we'll go for a 45-minute walk. Like that's what we do.
That's nice.
Or you can get on the Stairmaster. Like I have a Stairmaster at the house, so I could do that. You could do yoga, you could lift weights, whatever you want, but it has to be 2 workouts. One has to be outside, separated by 3 hours for 45 minutes. You have to read 10 pages of a book. You have to take a progress photo, and you have to follow a diet, and you choose the diet. So whatever it is, my husband and I did basically like whole foods, anything under 7 ingredients, and you did it for 45 days. And if you miss anything, you got to start from the beginning.
Did you do it? Did you make it?
Yeah, we've done it twice now. So
Wow.
we did it when I turned 40, and we did it when he turned 50. And I promise you, I don't want to do it again.
Do you, I mean, obviously you're trying to reset good habits or whatever.
It's all about mental.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've seen a kind of longevity of
Benefits?
those?
Absolutely. I'll be honest with you. If I'm being 100% serious, I live this type of lifestyle. I'd say like 80% of the time.
Okay.
For my husband, it's life-changing.
Gotcha.
Like it has revolution. Like I probably lost like 2 pounds if like I even paid attention to it. Yeah. But my husband lost like 17 pounds the second time. I think he lost 18 pounds. And it's not like he has a ton of weight to lose, but like he got really, I could show you before and after, he was ripped. But it's all about mindset. It teaches you how to really plan your day. You have to be very organized. You have to be on top of things. You have to like there was times where we woke up at like 4:00 in the morning to make sure we could get our first workout in on the weekends. And then we could do our second workout at like 9:00. So then we could be done by 10, just follow a diet for the rest of the day. So we could like have a life and go do things. And
do you ever, what's that fasting called? Intermittent fast?
I don't. No.
Did you drink coffee?
I do.
Do you drink alcohol?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I honestly and I'm obviously not a dietitian or anything like that, but I will tell you, I had an eating disorder for probably 15, 16 years of my life. And I will tell you now that the only thing I do, and I say this and I kind of joke, I walk every single day. So like every single day, I'll never miss an outside walk because it makes me feel good. And I just don't eat like an asshole. And I know that sounds so weird, but I promise you, my whole thing is I promise I want to feel good. I base everything that I do, things that I say yes to, my lifestyle, like I go to bed early. I wake up early. I say no to situations that I do not want to do. I don't overeat. I don't overdrink. Like I just base everything on feeling really good.
Don't eat like an asshole. That should be the name of your next podcast.
But it's true. It's like, don't eat the whole container of ice cream. Don't drink the whole bottle of wine.
Yeah.
But I eat sugar. Like sugar's my kind of vice. Like I don't eat a lot of fried food and stuff, but I'll have something sweet every single day.
Yeah.
And I just don't overgo.
You are a big proponent of visualization.
I am. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I mean, I'm a big believer in affirmations. I'm a big believer in saying it until it becomes true. You know, a lot of people say like affirmations don't work and that's a little woo-woo and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I just decide that it's going to work no matter what. And I just keep showing up to believing that it will until it does.
Well, I think that's a lot of what prayers and meditation are just affirmations.
Yeah.
Again, this is about a resiliency muscle, your willingness to fail, to get back up, to try the hard things, to do the hard things. It's about resiliency in
most people quit. I'll be honest with you, most people quit. And I know this is maybe like triggering to some, but like I do not want to be average. There's nothing about me that wants to be average. There's nothing about me that wants to be like normal. Like I just find that so off-putting for myself. And now, you know, obviously everyone's different, but like I don't want to do that. Like I am more than willing to fail all the time. I'm more than willing to get kicked down, but like I never want to be that person that says that like she quit or she gave up. Like, that just like
You are incredibly competitive.
Extremely competitive.
I heard you say that you'd rather cut off an arm than lose.
Absolutely, 100%. I will go down in flames. I will lose it all before I quit.
That's tough on your husband.
No, he and I are very similar in life. I mean, we're so different.
Who wins the fights most of the time?
Oh.
You know what? That's honestly like, we really don't fight that much. We really communicate quite well, but we do have a very kind of, I think, traditional marriage in the fact that like he doesn't really, I've probably been told no twice in 20 years, but when he says no, it's a no. So
yeah. That's good though. That means you're on the same page.
That's kind of my husband too. He doesn't say no to me a lot, but when he does, you got to do it.
It's the deal.
Exactly.
It's the deal.
So in 2019, you were on one of your charity groups up in Canada doing something, and somebody asked you to come, and having cocktails afterwards. Someone says, hey, next week or soon we're going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. You want to join us?
Yeah.
And you did.
I said, well, where is that? Do they have an airplane there or an airport there? And then the second thing was, I was like, okay, cool. When is it? Like next year? And they're like, no, we leave in a month. So I said, yes.
And what did you do to get ready?
So I came home, asked my husband, I said, can I do this? And he said, is it safe? And I said, I think so. And he said, okay, well, then you better get training. So day one, I ordered every single thing besides toilet paper off a list of what you needed to do on Amazon. And day two, once Amazon arrived, I was, hiking around my neighborhood and wearing my hiking boots and climbing up and down Pinnacle pretty much every single day, twice a day for a month solid, just to not die on a mountain in Africa.
Yeah.
But you almost did.
I almost did. I got very sick. I got very sick on the way down, which was very surprising because I was allergic.
Elevation thing?
No, for me, it was actually like I was great until I took a medicine that I was allergic to.
Oh,
yeah.
Bad circumstance.
Bad circumstance. It was a very weird deal. It could have happened anywhere, but I was fine. They had. It was a wonderful guiding company, and it was the best of the best, and they took care of me. So
cool.
Yeah.
The why. Do you think this is the fourth step we've done? Let's see, we did with fear of failure, imposter syndrome, resiliency, and now we're on the fourth step. The why. Do you think that this is the most important one of all?
Yeah,
or are they all the same?
No, I think it's very, very helpful. I mean, it's so easy to quit if you don't know your why.
You got to know why here it is. The why. Why do you want to accomplish thing that you've put on your bucket list?
Or that you want to do, that you say that you want to do. Like, I do this job because it's my why. I don't do it, like, don't get me wrong, I love what it comes with it, but I do it because there's nothing else on the planet I'd rather do. So I'll figure it out. I'll be resilient. I know my why. I keep going.
When I interview people for a job here and I ask them why they want to work and they say things like, I love people and I just want to serve. I'm like, they're lying. But when they say I need the money, I go, okay, you're my girl.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't know. Like, I do love people. I want to help people so badly. Sometimes I always say, like, I did this big podcast that really blew up, and the host of it said he calls it the back of the hand mentality. And I say kind of, it's what's your biggest strength is usually your biggest weakness.
Right.
I care so much that it is my biggest weakness, but it's also my biggest strength.
That is, I think, kind of true for like me. Is
all
that
of
what
us.
you're?
Yeah,
all of us. We're
yeah.
a very caring family, but we end up being too lenient sometimes.
It puts the blinders on sometimes. Yeah.
So you said, I love this, Christina. I did learn that I was the person in charge of my happiness. I truly feel I have the best life because I have the ability to create the life I want because I decided to.
Yeah. Everything I coach and teach is based upon 3 pillars, whether people know it or not. It's decision, faith, and action. And I believe that you make a true decision. Like a decision doesn't change based upon your circumstances. It's a real decision. And the faith part for me is God, but for everyone else, it doesn't matter what it is for you, God, source, universe, doorknob, whatever you want. But the faith part is the part that makes it a little bit more enjoyable along the way. And then, unfortunately, I feel like we live in a bit of a culture now where people don't want to take a ton of action. They kind of want things to be instantaneous or, happen overnight. And I just don't think that that's the truth. And I think a lot of action is what will actually make your circumstances change. And so for myself, it was just, I was in control of my happiness. I'm in control of everything. I'm in control of how things go. And I just think that that's when people take personal responsibility for their lives, I think they can change their lives.
Of those 3 things, decision, faith, and action, the hardest one is the decision.
I think so, because I think
quitting golf.
Yeah, but I think people keep, I remember I interviewed a good girlfriend of mine, and she's a singer-songwriter, and she said when you have 2 feet in 2 different ponds, you drowned. So it's either, get off the fence. Indecision is still a decision. And so many people stay in indecision all the time. You have to make a decision. You have to decide. And if you don't like it, you can change it. But indecision is still a decision.
Indecision is still a decision.
Yeah.
Let's make another podcast title. That's really good. All right, this is a great place to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the confidence coach and ex-pro golfer, Miss Christina Lecuyer. Still to come. When is it time to change the trajectory of your life? Is your identity tied up in what you do or who you are? More confidence learning, golf tips, and LIV versus the PGA. Is it a good thing or is it not? We'll be right back.
Do you have something to say? Say it in flying colors. I'm Megan McCoy, and my family owns and operates flagandbanner.com. We believe that flags tell a story and banners make an impression. Whether it's for your business, organization, or special event, custom flags and banners will make your message soar. Visit flagandbanner.com for high-quality products and quick turnaround. We're not just any flag company. We're the experts that answer the phone.
We're speaking today with ex-pro golfer, Miss Christina Lecuyer, a performance and mindset coach, speaker, and host of her podcast, Decide It's Your Turn. Before the break, we talked about the 4 steps to kind of changing your life, action-oriented 4 steps. Christina had a bunch of really great catchphrases that I think she should name.
Absolutely.
Some of her podcasts, like indecision is a decision. That was one of them.
Yeah.
I don't remember the other one.
Just make lots of inspirational posters about this whole interview. Yeah.
So here's what I read on your website.
Yeah.
My secret to success, confidence. What does confidence have to do with success, you ask? Everything. Confidence is the difference between sitting on the sidelines and actually playing the game of life. It's the next level energy you need to ask for what you want, be okay with failing, and never give up on yourself. Confidence is the thing that transformed my career, business, and life, and hundreds of my clients. And I know it can transform yours too. So let's talk about your business. We kind of talked about how it came about. It was just organic. But when did you decide to give it a name and make it a real thing?
Yeah. Probably about 7 years ago, I'd say. I started putting together what I call, do you know what a mastermind is? Or for most people, they don't know what masterminds are. It's just basically a like-minded group coming together to accelerate growth. So you put,
What?
Yeah, masterminds are a big deal. It's kind of how I really kind of started connecting with the right people. I think who you surround yourself with really matters.
Well, how did you find your masterminds?
Started self-development books, podcasts, but this was before podcasts, YouTubes, and I just found people who were super inspirational, and I know that they put together groups. And so I started paying tens of thousands of dollars right off the bat because I was just like, I know I want what they have. So the fastest way to get that is to pay for it. And I just put myself in rooms. I started going to events, personal development seminars, hiring coaches. And then I hired my first coach, I think probably
Life coach?
No, business. I mean, mindset. You can call it life coach if you want. Sure.
Okay.
Life coach works, but it's more of, for me, it was more of like the mindset behind business, figuring out how to actually change my mind, change my life, and then also create a business around it. Mm-hmm. So I hired a business coach probably maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. But my first coach was really just helping me figure out how to create a mastermind because I had been a part of them and I knew that they were so successful and I knew that I had changed completely by being in like groups of like-minded people. So I started putting together women's masterminds back in 2017, I think, was my first one. And I started my first one here locally with like local women. And they just were overjoyed. And so then I started really marketing it and selling it. And then I started doing them. Like I did some in California. I did one in Arizona. I've done now a few here in Arkansas, but now my business is more transitioned to just one-on-one. Because what I had learned throughout the process of doing masterminds, I think I did about 8 mastermind groups, and then I'd done a few women's retreats as well.
And you led those groups.
I led those
After
groups.
you paid to learn about it, you began to lead your own groups.
Correct. Because I knew how transformational they were.
It was for you.
Oh my God. Changed my life 100%. And every woman I can't say every woman, but I did only women's masterminds. I do men's and women's coaching, but I only did women's masterminds in the beginning. And I'll tell you, every single person was completely changed to their bones. Like, I mean, it's just
Every single person, what?
was changed to their bones. Like every single person left those groups, just completely different person.
So you tutored women when you did your masterminds, but when you went out and learned about it, you were going with men also too.
Oh yeah, men and women is what I did in the beginning, and then I just started only with women. My first one was only 4. My second one, I think I did about 6, and then after that, they got to as big as 20 people. And then during the pandemic, they were all online, so I did those 2020 through 2022. And then in 2023, all of these people who were in group programs with me, they all ended up they wanted to work with me one-on-one. And so I just started to understand that there was a bigger transformational shift when someone had one-on-one. And people always tell me, why do you do this? It's a bad business model. It's not even a business, because if your clients go away, your revenue goes away. But I've been very blessed. I'm very blessed to be able to do this full time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I make a great living, but I think the one-on-one transformation, working one-on-one with someone, is one of the greatest experiences ever, to have that one-on-one. I call it like relationship type of coaching situation, because I want to know good things, bad things, comments, concerns. I am for my clients 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so I really want to walk through life and business with them. And I think that has the biggest transformation, because I thought about this when I was playing golf. I knew I just didn't need my coach like Thursday afternoon for an hour. I wanted to be able to ask him, what am I doing? Good things, bad things. When I won, when I lost, when my mind was crap, I needed to know all of these things. And so I thought to myself, what is the fastest way to really transform someone's life and business is to be with them 24/7. And I don't have children. This is what I'm super passionate about. So I only take on 30 clients at one point in time, but my full-time clients have 24/7 access to me to make sure that we're giving them the biggest transformation possible in the shortest amount of time.
What's the biggest problem that people come with you? I wouldn't think these women, it would be fear. I wouldn't think
men and women. No.
Or these people, I wouldn't think fear would be the first one. What is
my number one for my people who have already had somewhat of success is the overwhelm and the anxiety. Those are the number one things. Moms especially, women especially, super successful, always putting themselves last, never taking care of themselves, a fear. If you want to know the real truth, it's patterns, habits, and stories that people have from their childhood that literally they haven't changed, and it is keeping them stuck or keeping them from getting what they want. You know, one of the big taglines that I have is that you are no longer your parents' decisions. And if you want to transform something, you have to reprogram, because really what I ultimately do is help people reprogram stories, patterns, and habits to get what they want instead of following what their families did.
Using it as an excuse to not get what they want.
Yeah,
basically.
like a simple one.
Accidentally, actually.
Very simple, like easy one that a lot of people really kind of get is like a money mindset. Let's say your parents had a horrible money mindset. Your parents were afraid of money, whatever it is. You grow up, you're afraid of money. You don't know how to make money. You don't know how to hold money. You don't know how to spend money. You are afraid you're going to lose it, or you're always hoarding it, or you're always spending it. Well, you learn that from your parents. I mean, if I'm I've said this on my podcast 1,000 times. My parents had a horrible money mindset. Well, I have never had an issue with money. I've actually made money since I was like 10 years old. I've always had money. I know how to make money. I'm not afraid of money, but I had those stories, patterns, and habits from my parents. So until I reprogrammed what I want to believe about money, I was literally living out their lives. And so for me, it was just about reprogramming what I wanted to be true in order to serve me now. And you can talk about this in relationships. You can talk about this in business. It's all of the exact same patterns, habits, and stories, whether it's your personal life or your professional life. And so I work with clients who have every business under the sun, insurance agents to retail boutiques to not only business owners, but people who are in corporate. I have, a corporate CEO who probably makes $5 million a year. I mean, it's all the same things. We're all human beings doing the exact same things.
Right.
And until you figure out, like, my job is to give the external perspective. So I can see what is most people's stories, pattern, and habit. And then my job is to help them understand what they want to reprogram to get a different result. It's really, honestly, that simple and yet so hard.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we just talked about that with the relationship therapist a couple months ago.
We sure did, about how marriages and...
Well, and reprogramming childhood wiring,
It's traumas. Like
Yes,
people don't want to use the word. Like
but
there's big T's, little T's. We're all like every single person on the planet is super traumatized.
Oh, yeah.
In some way, no matter
We're
how
all
good
carrying the childhood trauma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And no matter how great your parents were, all of those things, it doesn't mean your parents are bad. It just means, what did your parents do that you are okay continuing? And what did your parents do that you no longer want to continue through? Because that is usually the thing that's holding you back from getting what you want, whether it be in your personal life or your professional life.
I have a fear of not being needed that I think makes me do things I don't want to do.
For sure.
Okay, where do I sign up? I think the other one, if I was to come, it would to be, or if I was to, want to get counseling on something, it would be on decision making. It seems to me like, should I stay? Should I go? Should I change? Should I, seems to me like that's the beginning place.
A quick way for that. Like a lot of people have a problem making decisions because they're so afraid. Perhaps in your childhood, again, I always say that like the difference between coaching and therapy is this. Therapy, we can talk about all the reasons why it happened. Like we know, like I can usually know like why did this happen within like the first or 1 or 2 sessions. But as coaching, our job is to take action to reprogram those things. Like, I don't really care why it happened. Like, it's great to talk about it for a second, but if you're talking about it for the rest of your life and you're not taking action to change it, you're going to stay in the exact same pattern. So, and don't get me wrong, I have a therapist, I have a coach, but that's the difference. And going back to what you said about afraid of making a decision, perhaps there was some point along the line that you were like either reprimanded or told you were bad because you made a wrong decision. Well, that tiny little blip in time, it could have been like so insignificant. You believed at that point in time, well, I don't know how to make a decision. And from then, like that could be something similar. Obviously we haven't dove into it, but that could be it. And then that little tiny thing that happened has prevented you from confidently making a decision into your 70s, which is...
So what if you are, your life is great, but you're ready to reinvent yourself?
There's no reason why anyone should stop themselves from doing anything. I've had clients well into their 70s, and I'm so blessed to have clients like who are like, I have still to this day, I have a 19-year-old client. Her parents pay me. What a responsibility I feel.
Yeah, right.
But I feel really blessed about that. But there's no reason why. I mean, if you still got a heartbeat, you can make a change.
Sports and long, successful careers are great. Because you learn lessons along the way. I saw someone at Rotary asked you about her daughter. She stood up in the audience. She said, I have a daughter who's great in sports, but she's not going to be able to play it professionally. But her identity is so rolled up in it. And you said something about playing sports. It doesn't matter. It's great foundation. And being successful in your career is a great foundation. It teaches you how to work with people and stuff. So if you want to change your life, it's fine. Your life is completely good. Let's say you're at a turning point. You're about to go off to college, or you decided you can't play professional sports, or you want to change careers. Because they say some people change careers 3 times. I never have. What advice do you give them on how to decide what to do?
I think most people know ultimately inside of themselves what they want to do. The first thing I would say is block out the external noise. Get off the phone, get off the internet, quit listening to what everyone has to say. I personally believe deep down, every single person knows if you get still and you actually listen to yourself. And a lot of people have to train that muscle of listening to themselves, because oftentimes people have basically turned that off. They care so much about what everyone else has to say that they don't even know what they're saying to themselves. So the first step is figure out what it is that you actually want. I kind of usually give about 3 things of people I just don't really know, because clarity is huge. It's one of the most important things that people kind of skip over, because you can't get something that you don't even really know what you're going for. So I would say the first thing is what is it that you could talk about all day? I could sit here talking about this for the next 7 hours. I'm super passionate about it. And the second thing is what what skill do you have? Like, what is it that you're good at? Like, what do you enjoy doing? Like, and again, it don't always think 10 steps ahead. It's just like, what am I passionate about? What do I enjoy doing? And then usually something in there about like, what, discrepancy do you see, or what kind of makes you angry? Like for me, it really makes me angry when a person says they can't do something, or like, I don't have the means, or who am I to do it, or whatever. I kind of get pissed off at that. And so for me, when I look at all three of those things, this is my purpose. This is what I want to do. And so look at yourself, like what kind of makes you mad? Like, what do you want to stand up for? What do you want to talk about? What are you passionate about? What could you talk about all day long? Somewhere in there, you're probably going to find what your next step is.
Ooh, that's good advice. What are you passionate about? Look for opportunities in there. But trust, and then there's the big changes that have happened in my life have come from unraveling that was out of my control. I mean, something happened, you end up getting divorced, or, I don't know, I can't think of anything right now. Or you can't keep a job. Like I started Arkansas Flag and Banner because I kept getting fired from every job I ever had. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to work for myself. Mm-hmm. So,
opportunity.
Yeah. So, But if you don't have that and nothing pushes you out the door, mm-hmm. and you have to learn to trust your thoughts.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying is find where the passion is and get quiet.
Unfortunately, most people don't make a change. Most people are very average. Most people are okay with average. Most people are, the hardest thing to do is to make a person who's comfortable make a change. Most people are quite comfortable. Like, work's okay, marriage is okay, kids are okay, weekends are okay. Those people, it's the hardest. Honest to God, it's the hardest. It's the person who's had like a bit of a rock bottom. It's the person who has like this big kind of shift where they're like, oh crap, I got to do something. It's so much easier to go after something when the pain of staying the same is, the pain of change is worse than the pain of staying the same.
Yes.
And a lot of people are okay with the pain of staying the same. And maybe it's just a God thing for me, but like there's no deeper pain than staying like average, or there's no deeper pain for me than just like being whatever. And yet I use the word content all the time. Like I am so content with my life, but my husband hates that word, but I'm so content with what is. And from that space, it allows me to get to the next level.
You coach clients from around the world to curate their best life. Mm-hmm. Your website says you're a performance and mindset coach specializing in helping high achievers, business owners, and entrepreneurs find more joy, be less overwhelmed, and make more money. And I love this quote. Most importantly, have lives that they don't need a vacation from. How do people go about hiring you?
I mean, you can find me on social media. You can listen to my podcast. You can send me the word coach to 501-222-3362. It's easy to kind of get a hold of me.
We've got the internet.
Yeah, we got the internet. Put in B Christina. I don't use my last name very often because it's just so hard to spell.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. So I'm B Christina, because I encourage everyone to be themselves.
Is that your husband's last name or yours?
It's mine.
I thought so because it's very Canadian French.
Yeah.
What's your husband's last name?
Lecuyer is how you say my name.
Say it again.
Lecuyer.
Say it, Gray. He's French.
I'm not French.
He took French class.
Did lots of French. And
he probably did as much French as I did.
Yeah, right. And I always love it when Mom tries to pronounce French words. So I just enjoy the 16th. It's Lecuyer, right?
Lecuyer. Yeah. Lecuyer.
See, I knew he could say it.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. You should have heard me when I was interviewing that German woman.
Where in Canada were you from?
I'm from Edmonton. No one in my family actually speaks French. It's just a French last name. Yeah, that's an East Coast name. West. But yeah, no one in my family actually speaks French. But that was my maiden name. It's when I was still playing golf and I had a tiny bit of notoriety. So I kept it.
So you do face-to-face. Mm-hmm. You do Zoom meetings. Mm-hmm. You're for hire for speaking engagements.
Yes.
Do you do a lot of that?
I do. Yeah. I'm very, very fortunate. I go in, do a lot of corporate training, a lot of corporate, do one-on-one first, and then we come in and do like a training day, and then we do a little one-on-one after. I believe the one-on-one is so important because that's usually where you get a little bit of vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And from there, that really allows us to find the truth. And so I start with a one-on-one capacity for all of the employees or whatever. And then we do an in-person training day. And then we follow it up with some one-on-one.
Are you writing a book?
No, my assistant is basically taking my podcast and told me that she's going to create a book for me. My assistant is so amazing. She's worked for me for about 3 years. I have 2 of them, but my full-time assistant, she says that she's creating a journal based upon my podcast, my mini devotional podcast.
So your podcasts are free. People can go and listen to those.
Absolutely. Decide it's your turn. Yeah.
I mean, if you've got the money, they can hire you for $10,000 a day.
It's not $10,000 a day for coaching, but that'd be nice. But no, I'm very blessed. Yeah.
All right. This is a great place to take a break. When we come back, we'll finish our conversation with Miss Christina Lecuyer. No, say it again. Christina Lecuyer, an ex-pro golfer who, after years on the circuit, changed the trajectory of her life and shares her learned knowledge as confidence coach, speaker, podcast host, and as an ex-pro golfer, gives you advice on golf. We'll be right back.
Our grandfather served his country during World War II. We use grave markers and stick flags to honor his memory. To those who serve, thank you from all of us at flagandbanner.com.
We're speaking today with ex-pro golfer Miss Christina Lecuyer, a performance and mindset coach, speaker, and host of Decide It's Your Turn podcast. For the break, if you're just tuning in, you should go back and listen to her beginning of her show where she talks about the 4 things that are holding a lot of people back. And then the second section, I can't even repeat what all she said, but it was great about it was complex, but yet very simple. I don't even know how that can be, but it was.
That's a good,
But everybody wants to know about golf tips.
Everyone does. I mean, I cannot get away from golf. No. And here's the thing. I still love golf, but like it is so not anything that I'm as passionate about. I'm just competitive. Like if it were golf or curling. Oh yeah, I play once a week. I call it my old man money games. It brings me so much joy. I love it more than anything. But again, I love the people. It could have been curling. It could have been baseball. It could have been whatever. But for me, it's always been about the human connection. But I am competitive. So I'm glad that there's some sort of sport in there.
You beat those old men?
I do. Yeah,
sure you
not
do.
Not every time. She does. Yeah. Not every time, but yeah, I always call it my beer money. But yeah.
All right, golf tips.
Oh gosh, golf is hard. What is it? What should I say when it comes to golf tips? Golf is one of those things that it's not like riding a bike. You actually have to practice to be good at it. You should enjoy the process. I think if I could have given myself a little bit of a tip back 20 years ago when I was playing golf. God, I wish I would have enjoyed it more because golf is one of those things, the harder you try, the worse you are. When you are just out there having fun and enjoying the experience, I mean, my God, you can play some really good golf. And I'll tell you 100%, I play better golf now than I did when I was grinding it out because back then I was just trying so damn hard. And now I just go out and just have the greatest time ever. There's no one out on the golf course that'll have more fun than me. 90% of the time, 10% of the time, I'm a bitch because I'm playing bad. But 90% of the time, I'm just having a hell of a day. And it doesn't even actually matter what I'm shooting or if I win the money or if I don't. I'm just super competitive.
You're not throwing your golf club.
Oh, hell no. I did that way back in the day, but now, no. I'm just like, I literally do feel super grateful for my life. And I'm so blessed. I'm a member at an awesome club. I have good people that I play with. And it's
Does your husband play golf?
He does a little bit. He's not very good. He works a lot.
So in order to get ready for this show, my husband and I went out and rode around in the golf cart
at
Burns Park. Do you know Burns Park is the largest city park in the United States?
Wow.
I know.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And it's huge.
It is huge.
And so we decided to go out and play. Guess how many snowmen we got?
Quite a few.
3.
There we go.
For y'all that don't know, snowmen are 8s on par 4s.
Yeah,
or 3s or 5s even. He was like, yeah, we don't ever play.
Yeah.
But I want to like golf.
Yeah.
I mean,
just putt and chip and hit one or two. I mean, my girlfriend, she was a client of mine for a few years. She's my hairdresser. She's the best ever. And we went out this past Sunday, her and her husband and Nathan and I. And she played maybe 2 holes. The rest of the time, she just sat around in the car, listened to music, drink a drink.
That's
and
me. That's me, baby.
Drive the car. Yeah, hell yeah. You got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I like riding around the golf carts.
Yeah.
I like the refreshments. But after 9 holes, I'm ready to go indoors.
Oh, exactly. A lot of people do not like the long, like golf takes a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want to like being, and I love to be outside. You know that.
Yeah.
But I'm just no good at the game.
It's hard.
Do you have a favorite golf story?
Oh gosh, I'm so lucky. I've been around some really awesome athletes out there. Peter Jacobson, I remember back in the day, this was probably about, I don't know, maybe 2003, 2004, so a long time ago. I was walking around with him, Natalie Gulbis, Peter Jacobson, Arnold Palmer was there. Mr. Palmer was there, which was really, really incredible
cool.
to get to talk to him and be next to him. And I remember he said something to me that I'll always remember. He said, you're going to be out here on tour, because this was back in the time where I thought I was going to start playing. And he said, you're going to be around some great people. But he said, take what you want and leave what you don't. And I think that that's a quote that I use all the time now in life and in business. I mean, it's not, the most fancy quote, but it's like, take what you want and leave what you don't. You can learn something from everyone. And sometimes you can learn what you don't want to do. And so I really remember him telling me that, and I've really kept it in my heart.
You said practice the short game.
Yes, practice the short game. That's where you can get really good. Putt for, people say drive for show, putt for dough. And that's true. Most people just want to hit the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But really where you actually make money and when you actually are good at golf, it's like, can you putt and chip?
So Top Golf is just all about driving, right?
Top Golf is not really golf. I did a reality show on the Golf Channel based at Top Golf. We did Top Golf Vegas. It was called Shot Makers. It was way back in the day, but it's not golf. I look at it as a combination of golf and darts and a bowling alley and having fun with drinks. The food and drinks at Top Golf is phenomenal.
Really?
The last time I've been there, I mean, I've only been to the ones in Vegas and Dallas. I went to the one for the grand opening here in Little Rock, but I didn't actually hit. But yeah, it's a great family experience. It's kind of like putt-putt on steroids.
Yeah.
Food and drinks are good. So it's a good time.
Professional golf is 98% mental, you said.
Oh, 100%. There's no question. Once you get to the highest level in golf, I mean, you're separated by just 0.01 of strokes. And it all does come down to the mindset. I mean, again, mindset is my life. Mindset is what I coach, I teach, I preach. And I mean, look at the greatest athletes in the world. They're mentally so strong. And you can tell when a person's a mental midget, right? You can tell the person who just gets super rattled. And so for me, I think it's just all about the mind. It's when you have that greatness mentality, when you have that work ethic, and then when you have that natural talent, you put those 3 together, that's where we're talking a Jordan, a Kobe, a Tiger. But the people who differentiate on the golf course, in my personal opinion, because everyone is just the best in the world, is those who can, thrive under pressure and those who actually enjoy it. There's a show now on Netflix. It's really good. It's called Full Swing, and it's the behind the scenes of the PGA Tour. It's really taken off, but there's a few players out there that bring along their, their coaches and their therapists or whatever. They're just like me, performance coaches. How do you find joy out on the golf course? How do you get back to what really matters on the golf course? And those are the people that are really thriving right now.
All right, LIV Golf League versus the PGA. What do you think about Saudi Arabia getting into the business of golf? Is it good? Is it bad?
I think they're already here. I think they're in every business. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It didn't. I thought all the guys who didn't take the money, I kind of felt bad for them. Once they combined, I'm like, damn, I wish you would have taken the money.
Right.
But they're combining it now. And I just think, I mean, Saudi Arabia, people were making, they shouldn't be in their all of the horrible things, but they're in every business. I mean, they're in FedEx. It's business is business. It's just that simple.
We are a global economy now.
Exactly. Business is business.
So what do you want our listeners to take away from the interview today?
You have the power to decide it's your turn. You have the power to decide your life. You have the power to decide whatever the heck you want to decide. You want to quit your job and move halfway across the country, do it. You want to learn to love yourself, do it. If you want to reinvent yourself at 70, do it. I mean, you're going to die. We're the 3 of us at this table, this gentleman, we're all going to die. And hopefully it's not anytime soon, but what the hell are you waiting for? Life's much too short and you have the power.
I'm signing up.
I already knew that was going to be your answer. Yeah.
Christina, I've really enjoyed talking to you so much. We got you a gift.
Oh, thank you.
It's a desk set.
Oh, lovely.
It's
I'm here
you.
and you put the Canadian flag. I'm here for it. Look at that. I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate
welcome.
it.
I hope you take it back and think of us when you're sitting at your desk.
Always. Thank you.
You're welcome. This show was recorded in the historic Taborian Hall in downtown Little Rock, Arkansas, and made possible by the good works of flagandbanner.com, Mr. Tom Wood, our audio engineer, Mr. Jonathan Hankins, our videographer, daughter, Miss Megan Pittman, production manager, and my co-host, Mr. Grady McCoy IV, son Gray. To our listeners, we'd like to thank you for spending time with us. We hope you've heard or learned something that's been inspiring or enlightening, and that whatever it is, will help you up your business, your independence, or your life. I'm Kerry McCoy, and I'll see you next time on Up in Your Business. Until then, be brave and keep it up.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. For more of Kerry's interviews, click on either video on the right of the screen. And as always, thank you for watching.